The Fatima prophecy, what was never revealed to the public. The wind whistled through the empty corridors of the small monastery in central Portugal. Father Miguel closed the heavy oak door behind him and clutched the small leather-bound journal to his chest. The dim candlelight flickered as he walked down the narrow passageway, his mind racing with thoughts of the secrets he was about to uncover. For years, whispers had circled within the Vatican's walls about the third secret of Fatima, the final and most enigmatic of the three prophecies revealed by the Virgin Mary to three shepherd children in 1917. While two of the secrets had been disclosed decades ago, the third remained shrouded in mystery. Officially, the Vatican had released its contents in 2000, describing a vision of the assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II. But many believed that the true message was far more apocalyptic, and that the Church had withheld its most terrifying details. Tonight, Father Miguel intended to find out. The hidden journal, the journal in his hands, had been discovered only a week ago, buried deep within the archives of a crumbling convent outside Lisbon. Its pages were worn, the ink faded, but its contents hinted at something explosive. It was said to contain the personal account of Sister Lucia, the last surviving seer of Fatima, who had passed away in 2005. Father Miguel entered a small chamber at the end of the corridor, where a single wooden table and chair awaited him. The walls were bare, save for a crucifix that hung crookedly above the doorway. He placed the journal on the table and exhaled slowly before opening it. The first pages recounted the familiar story, the apparitions of the Virgin Mary, the warnings of war, and the call for repentance. But as he turned the pages, the tone shifted. The handwriting grew shakier, the sentences disjointed, as though Sister Lucia had been writing in a state of distress. There will come a time, one passage read, when the world will be divided not by borders, but by faith. Nations will crumble not from war, but from within. A darkness shall fall upon the Church, and many will lose their way. Father Miguel's breath hitched. This was not the version of the prophecy the Vatican had released. A warning of betrayal. He continued reading, the words sinking deeper into his mind. Beware of those who claim to serve God but walk in the shadows. There will be a great deception within the Church, and even the faithful will be led astray. The enemy will not come from outside its walls, but from within. Miguel felt a chill run down his spine. The Church had always been vigilant against external threats, political interference, secular ideologies, but this suggested an internal betrayal. Was this the true warning of the third secret? If so, it explained why the Vatican had been so hesitant to disclose it. He flipped to the next page, where a crude drawing of a serpent coiling around a cross caught his attention. Beneath it, Sister Lucia had written, "The serpent will whisper in the ears of the holy, and they will mistake its voice for God's." The room seemed to grow colder. Miguel rubbed his hands together, trying to dispel the eerie sensation creeping over him. The vision of fire near the end of the journal, Sister Lucia described a vision she had experienced during one of her final apparitions. "I saw a great city consumed by flames. The sky was dark, and the air was thick with ash. People cried out for salvation, but their voices were drowned by the sound of crumbling stone and collapsing towers. In the distance, I saw a figure clothed in white, kneeling and weeping." Miguel immediately thought of the official interpretation, the vision of a bishop dressed in white, interpreted as Pope John Paul II, who had survived an assassination attempt in 1981. But this description seemed far more catastrophic. The next passage confirmed his fears. This is not one man's suffering, but the suffering of an entire generation. It will come when the Church is at its weakest, and the faithful are divided. The world will tremble not from war, but from the weight of its own sins. Miguel leaned back in his chair, overwhelmed. The vision painted a picture of global chaos, moral decay, spiritual crisis, and the collapse of institutions people had trusted for centuries. A decision to make a soft knock at the door pulled Miguel from his thoughts. He quickly closed the journal as Father Alberto, an elderly priest with kind eyes and a wrinkled brow, entered the room. "You've been in here for hours," Alberto said, his voice gentle. "Did you find what you were looking for?" Miguel hesitated. He wanted to tell Alberto everything, but he knew the danger of sharing such revelations. The church had its reasons for keeping certain truths hidden. Would exposing this prophecy bring clarity, or chaos? "I found enough," Miguel finally replied, his voice steady but conflicted. Alberto studied him for a moment before nodding. "Sometimes, knowledge is a burden, not a gift. Be careful with what you carry." As the door closed behind Alberto, Miguel sat in silence, the weight of the journal pressing down on him. He knew he couldn't keep the truth hidden forever, but he also understood the responsibility that came with it. If the world wasn't ready for what the third secret truly held, revealing it could cause more harm than good. For now, he would guard the knowledge, waiting for the right moment to act, or for someone brave enough to share it with the world. As he blew out the candle, the room plunged into darkness, but the secrets of Fatima burned brightly in his mind, a prophecy too powerful to ignore.